Spider-Man Up, where we have a look at the 1967 Spider-Man animated series in all its cheap and glorious glamour.
Starting off, what's that skittering over our screen door? It's episode 3. Where crawls the lizard? We open up in a romantic, scenic vista. A Florida swamp. What a great place for cryptid sighting. And we aren't disappointed, because here comes 2 Florida men.
Not rare, but still so majestic. Are they gonna eat a face? Marry an alligator?
Drunk drive a Segway, cheat on his wife with a Disney princess.
I think Cinderella can do better. But we can't, so I'm looking forward to Florida shenanigans.
And those shenanigans start with this bulbous-headed lizard man flipping these gents' boat and claiming that he's gonna take over the world, starting with this swamp.
Today, I rule the swamps. Tomorrow, the world.
Big dreams for a man lurking waist-deep in piss water.
Spidey finds out about the lizard from a charming street urchin hawking newspapers like New York City do. And immediately Pete figures out a way to get JJ to pay for his vacation to the beach, or the swamp. What a scoop.
And JJ buys it right away, because he'll do anything for a teenager.
Phrasing.
I phrased it right. Spidey heads down south and gets dressed in his spider jammies to go swinging in the forest. We're taking bets for how soon he gets taken out with heat stroke.
I doubt this is the real Everglades or anything. More like the strip of jungle in the median between interstates. Because Spidey not only stumbles on a very convenient sign telling him about a lizard researcher, but the lizard himself has already been tailing our hero and trying to thwart Spidey's plan to thwart the lizard's plans.
New word of the day today?
I just love thwarting! It sounds like a comic punch sound. Which is convenient because, of course, the lizard and Spidey have their first confrontation on the way to see Dr. Connor, lizard scientist.
You can tell our hero is either a real badass or a real dumb son of a bitch from his reaction to the clawed hand yanking him into a swamp.
Spider sense tells me. Oh.
That is most people's pissing your pants situation. But I guess the swamp is already yellow, so who would know?
But the fight starts out more like water ballet than an actual fight, so maybe the reaction was justified. If I got yanked into a pool to slow dance, I'm not nearly so concerned. But Pete is a stickler for properly planned choreography, so he hightails it to pout in a tree before continuing his search for the lizard doctor.
Oh, and Spidey can't resist comparing his little tootsies with the lizard's big old footprints. At least it's implied that they're the lizards, but Florida swampland could have any number of weird things lumbering around.
Like this ginger kid that someone left in the woods. I heard swamp children are good luck.
Not this one. He and his mom have been abandoned by his dad, Dr. Connor. The cartoon is really dated by the fact that everyone is shocked that a guy up and abandoned his football helmet-headed wife and ugly son out of nowhere. I half expect this lady to say the secretary quit and left the same day.
The note's pretty suspicious too. Something bad happened, so take the kid and never come back here again. Guy's trying to keep the house without mediation, but Mrs. Connor's no fool. She has equity, damn it!
Seems like the lizard heard there was a free child being abandoned, so comes by quick to snap up that kid. Spidey quick sticks that kid in the tree and attempts to fight off the lizard.
Only to immediately knock himself out. Doesn't that webbing have like the tensile strength of steel wire? Look at him, laying there. Our hero.
The real hero ends up being Mommy Dearest, because that lizard man hears her coming and basically shits himself running away. A middle-aged woman recently abandoned by her husband to be a single mom? Now that's something to fear.
We find out Dr. Connor was working on a serum to cure swamp fever, whatever that is.
Sounds sweaty.
Very. And there's definitely a rash involved. And Spider-Man jogs off to check out that lab. All these neato bubbling beakers are child's play for this 16-year-old who immediately figures it all out. And he gets to that science just as the lizard shows up to blow up the lab. Are we sure this isn't Deadpool with web shooters? It's starting to seem like Spidey's only real power is not being killed when he really should have been.
The dude was blown up and he's not even scorched. Pretty impressive. But not as impressive as the fan boat he makes out of web. It makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely no sense. It's infuriating. How is he floating on webbings? Not even like solid webbings, just filaments.
But it gets him to an abandoned swamp castle where the lizard is holed up with some gator buddies. The lizard tells his plan to the gators. Apparently, he's gonna put his lizard serum in the water, which will, do something to everybody. Is everybody drinking swamp water? Is that the plan?
Does he think they'll crown him Lizard King? Love the title, but he just doesn't have the charisma to pull off a crown. And how would it fit over that giant noggin?
It doesn't matter anyway, because that's already Jim Morrison's title. Luckily, Spidey has the element of surprise on his side, and so we can put a stop to this dastardly yet vague scheme.
Until he immediately falls off the wall, doesn't catch himself, and crumples in a heap in front of the hungry gators. After a little chase and tussle, Spidey gets the chance to feed the antidote he managed to whip up in the 30 seconds he was in Connor's lab before it got exploded.
The lizard was Dr. Connor, the lizard researcher, all along. I'm actually not sure whether anyone was supposed to be surprised by this. This episode is so badly told I can't even tell.
I know, was anyone shocked? I sure wasn't. I'm just glad the Connors end up as a happy family living alone in the middle of a swamp again, as nature intended. But Dr. Connor was aged terribly by the whole ordeal. It looks like he's made of leather, but Peter got a relaxing vacation on the beach on JJ's dime.
When Pete comes home again, JJ is pissed as usual. He thinks the lizard was all a hoax and wonders why Peter didn't get pictures of Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man was there. Why didn't you get pictures of him?
Just my luck, I guess.
You can actually see the frame where Peter is thinking of all the ways he could kill this man.
Next up is Electro, the human lightning bolt, where we start off seeing some kind of Pokemon robbing JJ's house.
Love it, and love that JJ labels his safe. Either JJ has OCD or he just likes to see his face and his name in as many places as possible, like on his safe and about every desk he owns.
Spidey snaps a quick pic of the robbery because he really needs that paycheck. It has nothing to do with the sweet schadenfreude of Jameson getting shafted.
But Electro is ready for him and is zip-zapping all over the place with his little staticky jazz fingers. He brags that Spidey's webs are useless against all the power of electricity. But then the hero uses said webs to reconnect the severed alarm wire to the safe, so the webs are, I guess, electrically conductive. Also, our first famous meme frame, yay!
Yay! But Electro was still able to destroy Spidey's web window barrier and get away with whatever JJ had in his safe. Gold doubloons, fetish gear. It was fetish gear.
When Spidey tries to head out after him, the cops show up and immediately start shooting. Like, didn't even get out a stop right there before trying to fill him with lead. That's NYC cops for you.
Pete doesn't get a lot of respect out of his costume either, because even though he has a photo of the real thief, JJ is violently uninterested. He claims fake news and that Peter is a no-good snowflake out for a living wage. How dare he? Peter's so hurt that his head swells up like a balloon.
That's how spiders show sadness.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So Spidey, determined to clear his name, heads out to find that Electro jerk just screaming at the sky in Cartoon Times Square. They have a little tussle where they shoot their own brand of squiggly lines at each other until Spidey just chucks some raisins at Electro. Eat healthy, he cries. Electro doesn't care for that, though. But he's unscathed, and Electro skates away on telephone wires. And can we talk about how cool that is for a second?
That was way cool. That was much better than web swinging from the top of the frame. But I guess Spidey has gadgets too, because it turns out those raisins were transmitters to track the baddie to his next crime.
A good plan. Too bad Spidey sucks at his job, because he just walks into the already robbed bank and is surprised when the cops think he did it. He blocks off the room with his web so the cops' bullet ricochets safely back into their faces and hightails it.
Electro is apparently hiding out at a carnival, because of course he is. And he's monologuing his plan to a carousel horse that he's force-feeding his stolen loot, because, yeah, of course he is. That's what carousel horses eat.
Our arachnid bud realizes he's got to upgrade his doodads, so we get a sweet scene of cool chemistry nonsense and making an electricity tracking tricorder before Spidey heads back out to track down Electro again. Several recycled scenes of Spider-Man acrobatics later, he finally finds the carnival hideout, and Electro fondling his misbegotten pile of croutons.
We're really hoping Spidey wins this one, not only because this episode is almost over, but also because he really talks up the power of brains over raw power here. Be pretty embarrassing if Electro just fucking blasted his ass out of the door after all that.
Pretty funny though. But he doesn't get his ass blasted. His new web juice holds up to Electro's juice thanks to a new ingredient.
We'll worry about those side effects later, because this is the big fight scene. Electro's blast set off some fireworks, which set off a breathtaking explosion. The Majesty.
Spidey chases Electro to the roller coaster and lets him ride the whole thing before going after him for reals because it seemed like he was having such a nice time. They end up in the funhouse, home of many puns that we'll skip over for obvious reasons. Mostly about how not fun the funhouse is. Ha ha ha.
Spidey is sure that the House of Mirrors is a trap. Shocker.
Ha ha. Shocker. Ha.
Blech.
It was a trap, but not Electro's. Check out them buns. Electro is so distracted by that tush that he hits every mirror in the place, missing Spidey by a mile. Who could bear to harm that delicious cake, really? And that leaves the villain open for Spider-Man's second greatest weapon, a small net.
He bundles up this dangerous, superpowered criminal and immediately delivers him to the authorities. Nah, just kidding. He dangles him from a flagpole outside of JJ's office to threaten him and terrify two enemies at once. Very shrewd, Spidey. Very shrewd.
JJ has to print a quick retraction and do some trash diving to find that picture from Peter he so rudely degraded earlier in the episode. But I bet he doesn't get paid for them because JJ would definitely pay an exposure. He's got that face.
So, Irma, what did you think of this episode?
Actually, I like these ones. A lot of good JJ getting screwed over content, very funny, a lot of Florida jokes, which I enjoyed. Why did he go to Florida? Why? Why was Spider-Man in Florida? Why? Also, Electro, that costume is worth it. Just to see that man running around with those lightning bolts around his face, screaming about electricity, love it. Love it. And that carousel horse, what the fuck? Was that his pet? His... What happened there? I really need explanation that I'll never get. Oh, 4 out of 5.
I really liked this episode, too. I mean, it wasn't anything special, really, but, this is a solid Grey Goo episode. Maybe a Grey Goo with some gold speckles in, because goddamn, it was awesome when he was skating on those power lines, throwing sparks everywhere. I mean, that would be the coolest thing ever.
Okay, number 1, Grey Goo was your lowest setting previously. If anyone's keeping track of this rating system, Grey Goo was bad. But the idea of Grey Goo being speckled with gold in your world might be a nice thing, so I'm gonna let this pass. You know what? I'm fine with this.
You're being unusually accommodating for my rating system today. You must be sick or something.
How do you not get sick since you live in a fridge?
I eat an apple a day. Don't think about it. Apples are actually non-sentient. It's a punishment from God.
Join us next time for more Spidey fun on Spider-Man Up.
And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We appreciate it very much.
We super do. We love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.